Hi there and welcome to Hyundai Power Products. My name's Adrian.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to look at this HYDC5830 Disc cutter. So I've got the box here with all the contents in it. We're going to open the box, get everything out, lay it on the table so you can see what the customer receives. So we've laid the contents of the packaging out on the table here so you can see exactly what the customer gets. First of all,
Get the disc cutter.
Secondly, we get the water feed pipe. We do have a spare drive belt, which is very useful. There are 3 spare main air filters. There's a toolkit here with all the tools that you're going to need for general use, and a 2-stroke fuel mixing bottle. So that's the contents of the packaging. Oh, we nearly forgot, you also get a user manual. So the unit does come supplied with the lubrication hose for the cooling and lubrication of the blade, and on the end
Connects to your standard garden fitting hose.
So on the other end of the hose, it simply has a quick fit in here, which you can use a spanner to screw the pipe on and off. So when the machine is supplied, this is not connected, but as you can see, the spanner is there. You simply screw on the hose onto the fitting here, give it a couple of turns, like so, and then we can just hold the fitting carefully and tighten it up with a spanner. So an issue that we can have is really bad vibration. That will normally be down to the blade not being fitted correctly. So to fit the blade, it's a conventional thread. We'll undo the bolt in the centre and its washer. And we'll throw them on the bed. We'll take off the outer ring here, and you'll see that it's got a hollow, and on the outside it's got a protrusion. The hollow is always going to face the blade. So you'll also see there's a rear one, and again, the hollow is facing the blade and the protrusion is facing the machine. You'll see a square cutout, and that needs to line up on the shaft, and that's that fitted. Now, here's the blade itself, and you'll see it has a direction, a diamond wheel, and the arrow points this way. This arrow needs to be pointing downwards when it's at the front of the machine to get the blade on the correct way round. So I'll just fit the blade, just gently push it over the shaft. It is a snug fit. There we are, that's on. So now we replace the big flange, and you'll see the hollow side faces the blade. I'll just rotate it until it locates on the 2 flats on the shaft. Now I'll take the main washer, and again this has a hollow. The hollow needs to face inwards with the bolt. As I said, it's a conventional thread. I'll screw the bolt in. Just make sure that the blade is rotating correctly, which it is. So with that done, I can tighten up the nut. Now, ideally we should wear a pair of gloves for this, but I'm going to grip the blade. There's no fuel in this machine, no danger of it starting with me turning anything. And firmly tighten the bolt. So that's how to correctly fit the blade. So to keep your cutting blade in peak condition for a longer period of time, it is important that we lubricate the blade. And not only lubricate it, but it does keep the dust down and keep it cool. There are 2 taps on the outsides, these brass fittings here. And it's important that when the water is connected, that equal amounts of water are spraying on each side of the blade to keep both sides lubricated. So, let me just turn it to you. So, to increase the water flow, we unscrew the outer part of the tap like this. Once we've got them both equal, we can do the same on both sides until we get an equal flow. Once we've done that, we can tighten up the little lock nut, which is the inner nut here. So if you've got a little bit more one side than the other, we can unscrew so that we get the best flow equal on both sides as it comes down the 2 pipes. So next we're going to move on to tensioning the belt. So the question is, why would we need to tension the belt? Obviously, with it being a belt, it will need tensioning from time to time as it wears. And a surefire sign of the belt needing attention is if the blade is slipping. So you'll be revving the engine, you'll be trying to cut, but the blade is slowing down as you're cutting, but the engine keeps revving. That suggests that the belt is slipping. So to do the belt, we need to undo these 2 screws here using the form of Allen key. So we'll just undo these 2 screws, and then the plastic cover there will remove, and that will reveal the 3 belt tensioning bolts and you'll be able to see the belt itself. So that's one bolt out. So while we're doing this, I might just add a little point of safety, that whenever working on the machine, changing the blade, anything like that, it's always best practice to remove the spark plug cap, but we'll show you that later. So this reveals the belt, and you'll see here are the 3 tensioning bolts. So to loosen off the belt tension, we need to undo the 3 bolts, as we said. So we'll undo the 3 bolts, and as you can see, it's now loose. So the front end of the unit here will slide back and forth to provide tension on the bolt. And as you can see, this is rotating and the belt has now gone very slack. So to tension up, what we need to do, if you can do it, Ryan, is to turn this bolt anti-clockwise. Have you got the right spanner? My fault, I gave you the wrong tool for the job. In fact, that's the tool we want. There we are, we've got it right. Using the box spanner, we'll just turn that until we've got tension on the belt. A little more, and it's like a cam. There we are, that's nice. So we'll lock it there, and as you can see, we've got about 10 mil of deflection on the top of the belt. So at this point, we can retighten the 3 bolts to lock it in position. Okay, so we'll finally tighten these off camera, and that's the belt retention. But as you can see, there's just a bit of flex, but it's not sloppy as it was when we loosened it off. Okay, so having tensioned the belt, we need to look at the guard position. Now, in its current position, this is how it would be if you were using the machine handheld. But as you can see, if you were using the saw and trying to cut down in the floor, that the guard would hit the floor. So we need to adjust the guard around until it's in the horizontal position. So to do this, we need to remove, or mostly remove, these 4 screws. So if you look at the holes in the pulley, underneath them in various positions are the 4 screws, and may need to turn it slightly to align them to be able to get at them. So we'll completely undo these 4 screws. I've loosened them off already to save time, till they get to a point where they're just about to hit the pulley. So that one's just hitting. I'll go in just a little bit so that I can continue rotating. A little bit more. There we go. So I'll do this one opposite up here, and the same with all 4, till we get to a position where they're right out and just about to foul on the pulley, so somewhere near there. So once they're loose, that then allows us to rotate the guard. So do that one, just as well go through the whole procedure while we're here. And I think the one at the bottom is the only one I've missed. And that allows the whole guard head area to be able to be rotated. So that's the 4 loose. So with the 4 bolts loose, I can now rotate the guard around into the horizontal position. What you will need to do this, we need to realign the 4 bolts in the 4 holes that we just removed them from. So if you look on the other side, so I'll just swap round to the other side, and you'll be able to see the 4 holes in this plate. So we need to rotate the guard until you see the end of the 4 bolts in the 4 holes. So I'll come around that side and just see if we're there. Yeah, I can see the end of the bolts are not completely out and they're in the holes. So with that done, I can go back to this side of the machine and tighten the 4 bolts. Turn them clockwise and tighten the 4 of them up. So once that's done, that's the guard in its new position. And as you can see from the angle of the guard now, when we're using it on the floor, we'll now get the full depth of cut. So that's rotating the guard in relation to the wheel. So having tensioned the belt, it is important that we replace the cover back in position, replace the 2 screws and do them up firmly.
So we're going to look at the 2 filters. First of all, the pre-filter. This is a washable filter, and then your main air filter, which is replaceable. We recommend that after every 6 hours, you clean the filter, and after 20 hours, replace it. So I'll show you how to remove it. So first of all, the pre-filter. You've got your 1 Allen key on the top. Simply loosen off and remove the screw. Once nice and free, you've got 2 securing lugs on the side. Just pop them off. Only 1, apologies. Underneath there, you'll see a pre-filter. This is just washable. Okay, so remove it like that. Wash it, replace. And to remove the main air filter, it's your 4 screws on top of here. So once you remove these, again, just 2 lugs on the side. Now to lift off the cover, you've got your air filter, case of pull it up, and then to replace it, locate it, firm push down, back into position, and then a case of refitting everything.
So let's have a quick look at the controls. So most of you are familiar with our chainsaw range, and it's pretty much the same with one exception. So we've got the on and off switch here, pretty much identical to a chainsaw. We got the trigger and trigger lock, so you can't pull the trigger without pushing the lock, so the trigger. The difference is the choke. When you pull the choke out to start the machine on this, it doesn't automatically retract like our chainsaws do. So when I pull the throttle, normally our choke would automatically retract. So the idea being that you pull the choke out, once it's warmed up, you've got to manually push the choke in and then run the machine as normal. Everything else on this machine, you can pretty much relate to it being exactly the same as a chainsaw. Starting procedure, the recoils, the 2-stroke mixture, everything's pretty much the same. We do hope you found this demonstration useful. For more information on this or any of our other products, visit www.hyundaipowerproducts.co.uk. I've been Adrian.
And I've been Ryan.
Thanks for watching.